looky. We have snow. Good thing I'm headed to Florida. Guys, real life growing magnolia trees. Maybe I should snip some for my reeds. Hi flower friends, it's Nicole from Flower Hill Farm and I am back from vacation and I want to share with you guys the highs and the lows of our trip to Florida. I want to recap my brief vacation with you guys and tell you all about the good and the bad things that happened because there were equal parts of both. To start things off, we ended up leaving in a snowstorm. We had over a foot of snow and our flight was expected to take off that same day. It was still actively snowing. We headed to the airport because nothing had happened with our flight. It was still on time. We were halfway to the airport, which is about an hour and 15 minutes away. We were halfway there when we got a notification that our flight was delayed by 1 hour, which was okay because our layover, which was at JFK in New York, was a 2.5 hour window. So no big deal. We have an hour delay. We still have an hour and a half in between flights to get off and get back on to head to Orlando. We were going to Disneyland, Disney World. Yes, it's World. I don't want to say I'm a full-fledged, but I'm a little bit of a Disney adult. I hadn't gone there when I was a kid. I never went to Disney. It wasn't until I was 18 years old that we went to Disney for the first time, and I loved it. However, I was very sick at the time. I had my gallbladder removed shortly after we returned, so my stomach was upset all the time. I didn't get to really enjoy Disney when I was there the first time. It took me actually a little bit to convince Brad to go to Disney because it's expensive. It's not a cheap vacation. He was hesitant, but once we went, he was like, when are we going back? Anyway, I decided because of everything that my whole family went through this spring with the long hours, and I was here, I'm not even kidding you, I spent months here 18 hours a day. I didn't cook meals for weeks at a time. It was just a very overwhelming experience this first season at the nursery. I think it was the end of the spring season. We had just lost my grandfather. I was still working crazy hours and I knew, listen, I need to take my family on a vacation and kind of make up for all of the time we spent apart this spring. Even though they were here helping me, it still wasn't the family time that we've been so used to these past few years, especially with me working from home. So we're halfway there and we get a notification that our flight is delayed by 1 hour. No big deal. We get to the airport, which is the Syracuse airport, and we're waiting. 6:05 p.m., this was an evening flight, we started to board the plane. No big deal. We're boarded, we're in our seats, checking the clock. Okay, 6:05, and we're expected to land at JFK at like 7 o'clock. Our other flight wasn't leaving until 8:50. We had plenty of time. However, we just sat there. We sat there on the tarmac at the airport for probably half an hour before the pilot came on and said, we need to de-ice the plane. I said, okay, we still have time. We still have, well over an hour after we land to get to our other flight. So we went and we did the de-icing process, which was pretty cool to see. I'd never seen the de-icing process, and they did the whole plane. It took them probably maybe 15, 20 minutes to de-ice the plane. So then we start moving again. I'm like, great, we got no problems. We're gonna make it. And then the pilot comes on and says they have to plow the runway because too much snow had built up on the runway for us to take off. We thought, okay, well, I've seen them plow the runway before. They've got something that's like 30 feet wide. Shouldn't take them that long. Plenty of time. Well, we weren't the only flight trying to get out, and we were not first in line. So we ended up on the tarmac waiting to take off until 7:34 p.m. An hour and a half after we boarded the plane is when we finally took off. And I was looking at my, okay, 8:20-ish we were gonna land at JFK. Still thought we had plenty of time. Turns out we landed, and because our flight was delayed, they didn't have a gate available for us. So we were at the airport, we had plenty of time to get off the plane and get to our next flight, but they couldn't have a gate for us, which means we could not get off the plane. There was just no getting off the plane. So we sat in the plane for 20 more minutes. It was 8:44 before they finally started unloading the plane. And I got the cheap seats, so we're way in the back of the plane. And it took us another, 5 or 6 minutes to actually get off the plane because everyone has to go and get their luggage from the top. And then it's just a very slow getting off the plane. If you've ever flown before, you'll know what I mean. So then we get there and we run. Brad's in the lead. Brad and Axel are ahead of us. Veda and I are behind, and we're running. And we get there at 8:56. Our plane left 2 minutes prior. 2 minutes prior. I laugh about it now. I was not laughing about it then. What they said to us was, our next flight to Orlando leaves at 7:30 a.m. What are we supposed to do for 11 hours? Well, we ended up sleeping on the floor of the airport. Brad went and bought those like neck pillows, and we used those as pillows on the floor. My son wasn't feeling well. He had an upper respiratory infection, so he couldn't even lay down because he would just cough continuously. So he tried to sleep upright. He slept 0 hours. 0. I think I slept between 2 and 3 hours, but I was waking up every 20 minutes. It's a very uncomfortable thing to sleep in an airport on the floor. If you've never done it before, I don't recommend it.
So welcome to where we're going to be sleeping for the night. Yay. Brad just bought me contact solution because mine's in our suitcase that we checked in. So this is something I never thought that I would have to do. I'm sleeping on the ground in this Veda at the airport. It's not fun. Oh, there's Axel. And Brad's in the back. Are you having fun? No. Sleep next to me. Come on. Bring your coat down.
It was hideous. We ended up all getting up around 4 o'clock in the morning and we were all up anyway, but we got physically up off the ground at 4 o'clock in the morning, and we kind of just paced. Veda paced back and forth on their escalators that are flat, those treadmills that just take you from one spot to another. She just kept doing laps and laps and laps. It was not a great experience. It was pretty awful. So finally, we board the flight, 7:30 a.m., land in Orlando, no big deal. We did have, it was a direct flight. The next thing, all I could think of was, please let our luggage be there, because we missed our connecting flight. So I didn't know if our suitcase ended up somewhere else. The suitcase, thankfully, you should have seen the look of relief on my face when the suitcase came around the thing, and we're like, oh my God, it's here. So at least the suitcase was where we needed it to be. Anyway, we gathered our stuff, got to the resort, dropped our stuff, and just went right to the park, because we had already missed a half day at the park the first day. Guys, I couldn't believe when we landed in Florida, the flowers were blooming. There were flowers. I just wasn't expecting that. I knew there wasn't going to be snow. I knew it was going to be warmer. I just didn't expect to see all of the beautiful vegetation. So kind of everywhere I went in the park, I was taking videos of all the flowers, and I didn't know what most of them were, but they were beautiful to look at. And it was the first time in my memory that I actually saw a magnolia tree with my eyes. It was really hard not to go over and snip a couple off, but I didn't. Of course I didn't. Anyway, the whole entire park was just filled with beautiful plants. They have crews to take care of that. I can't even imagine. There were a lot that I noticed though. We had some geraniums and I don't know if they were sun patients or impatiens, but I think they were sun patients because they were mostly in snow. I mean sun. It's snowing outside right now. I don't know if you could see the reflection. Yeah, look in the reflection of the greenhouse right up here in the white. It's big old Christmas flakes right now. I'll spin the camera around shortly. Fast forward, the first day at the park was kind of amazing. We were exhausted. We were actually having a hard time getting from point A to point B because none of us really slept at all. And but everything, honestly, it was like a reward for having such a horrible night. There were no lines for any of the rides. I think the longest we waited was 14 minutes. 14 minutes at Disney is insane. And that was for our favorite ride, which is the Flight of Passage, the Avatar ride in Pandora World, which is amazing. I ate anything that I wanted on this vacation. I ate snacks, I ate deliciousness, I ate desserts. I had ice cream twice one day. That was probably my birthday. And it was just really, really a week to let all of our troubles go and just enjoy it. which was kind of hard after that first night, but we ended up retiring early. I think like 7:30, we said, okay, let's go back and go to bed. It was just too much. Second day, great time, no issues, short wait lines, everyone was fantastic. Axel was feeling better. Everything was going really well. Fast forward to day 3, and this is where things get dicey again. We were at Epcot, and because there are only a few rides at Epcot, the wait times tend to be a little bit longer here, especially for a couple of rides. But the first ride we really were waiting a long time for was the Frozen ride. We'd actually never done it before, even on our previous trips to Disney. I said I really wanted to do the Frozen ride this time. My fault. We waited in line over an hour. I think it was about 75 minutes. And we get on the ride, and if you've never been on the Frozen ride, it's a boat. So there's rows. So it was the 4 of us, and then there was another family in the front of the boat. And then we turn the corner, we're on the ride for 30 seconds. You see Olaf. Olaf starts singing, and then Olaf freezes. The lights come on, the music stops, the boat keeps moving. We're like, what is going on? We had waited in line for over an hour, and all of a sudden, the ride just frozen, get it? And the boat kept moving. And we're kind of joking around like, oh, maybe they had like a power failure or something. We're waiting for it to come back on, or some sort of instruction. And the ride's fairly long, probably 4 or 5 minutes in this boat, and we'd only been on it for 30 seconds. And so we're just drifting along, and as there are other boats on the ride, there's other people, and we see, you know how on a lot of the Disney rides there's a camera, it takes your picture? Well, we see the boat turn the corner and the flash happens. We're like, oh, that's where it's going to take our picture. So Veda and I, when it was our turn, we were like, boo, because we were on this ride and nothing was happening, and we were so confused. Anyway, we get to the end of the ride, and there are sirens going off, lights flashing. They had evacuated the building because there was a fire emergency.
May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? A fire emergency has been. While this is being verified, please leave the building by the nearest exit. Do not use the elevators.
Again, I'm laughing at it now. And I think I did laugh a little at the time because it was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? They tell us to go see guest services, and they were going to issue us a lightning lane pass. Okay, all right. So we did that. While we were at Epcot, we get notified that the guest speaker that we were supposed to see at an event later that night canceled. That's all right. Okay, we'll go home early. Won't have to do anything. It was the candlelight processional Christmas story that they do every holiday season at Disney, where they have celebrity hosts and they narrate it there. The celebrities are actually right there. Then we see on our little Disney app that the line for the Ratatouille ride is only 30 minutes long. 30 minutes, no big deal. Okay, so we get in that line. We turn the corner after being in the line for 20 minutes and we see, oh, the wait's now 60 minutes. Okay, well, that's not horrible. So we wait and wait and wait and we wait. And 60 minutes turns into 120 minutes, and 120 minutes turns into 180 minutes. Like, what is going on? And at this point, we're deep in the building, and we're not moving. The line is not moving. There was a lightning lane line that was moving fast right past us, but we were in the regular line, and we ended up waiting for 2.5 hours to get on the Ratatouille ride. And it wasn't that great. I gotta be honest. My kids liked it. I did not like it. It was a 3D ride where you wore 3D glasses. I get a little motion sick with the 3D rides. I had never experienced Ratatouille, so I didn't know what it was like. Anyway, I wouldn't recommend waiting 2.5 hours for Ratatouille. An hour? Okay. 2.5? No. And then I didn't even tell you earlier, probably after half an hour of waiting, a woman, probably a dozen people behind us, had a medical emergency. Her family was screaming for help, call 911. She collapsed. It was terrifying. I was trying to have my kids not look because I didn't know what was happening, and she ended up being okay. She was like dehydrated and just heat exhaustion. So they gave her some water and they wheeled her away, but she was okay, thank God. It was very scary at the time, seeing someone that we don't even know just have this medical emergency, and you're just feeling for their family because they're on vacation. They're supposed to be having the time of their lives, and here they are calling an ambulance, which, by the way, there was one man who rushed over. He said he was a retired Army doctor, and one of the staff members of Disney who was dressed up in like a Ratatouille gear, she rushed over and said, I'm a nurse. So it's good to know that Disney hides nurses on their staff and you don't even know it. But yes, she was a nurse. She came over, she was dressed in gear. So that was really kind of good to know. The day continues on. We had a really good dinner at the Coral Reef restaurant that night with some seafood. Axel had shrimp and grits. It was amazing. And then we ended up going to Germany because I don't know if you guys know this, but I don't drink alcohol rarely at all. In fact, it's been 2 years since I've had any alcohol, and I really enjoy, though, the grapefruit beer that they have in Germany. And I said months ago that when we go to Germany, Epcot, when we go to the place in Epcot that is Germany, I am going to enjoy a grapefruit beer. Now, I didn't drink the whole thing because I was nervous, having not had alcohol in over 2 years. So I drank half of it, threw the rest out. It was as delicious as I remembered. All right, guys, now moving on to what I would call the best part of the trip. That Saturday was my birthday, and I specifically made it so that I was at Magic Kingdom on my birthday. We made reservations for Cinderella's Castle. That's where we ate dinner that night. And the day was just great. Brad was spoiling me, of course. We did whatever I wanted, whatever ride I wanted to go to, whatever shop I wanted to go into. I felt like a princess. Even one of the vendors gave me like a free cake or something because I wore a pin that said it was my birthday. I watched a parade. The parade was fantastic. Some of the cast members were even telling me happy birthday while they were walking by. I think that's something really special that they do. If you're wearing a birthday pin, all of the cast members are on the lookout for those birthday pins, and they always say happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday. They really make you feel special if you're celebrating something at Disney. Fast forward to later in the night, fireworks show, the big fireworks show. I've been wanting to see it my whole life. Never been to Disney at Christmas time. The whole castle lights up gorgeously, and everybody else in the world had the same idea. There were probably 35,000 people in this little area. We were like sardines. We ended up stuck behind where a tree was blocking our view. And I was like, I'm not doing this. Let's make our way, I said to Brad, let's make our way towards the exit so we can still watch the fireworks and then turn around and get on the buses to go home. So we ended up starting to kind of weasel our way through the sardine can of people. Everyone's going this way, we're going that way. And we were about halfway towards the exit when we're going this way, and other people going this way. It's a police officer and a security guard and a gorgeous woman. And then right behind them, John Stamos, Uncle Jesse. He locked eyes with me. We literally were this far apart. Uncle Jesse's right here. He's walking this way, I'm walking this way. He looks up at me like this. And the look in his eye is like, I know you know who I am. Please don't say anything. Like he was afraid to be called out because there's 40,000 people, 35,000 people there. He bumps into Veda and says, excuse me. Veda didn't know who it was. I said, I was like trying not to panic and like, I was trying not to be overly excited, but I pulled on Brad and said, that's John Stamos. And Brad was like, it is. And I was like, I can confirm the man is gorgeous from here, from 12 inches away. His eyes are such a beautiful blue. Okay, I could go on for days. I'm still on a high from it, and it was over a week ago, okay? John Stamos was breathing the same air as me. He was there because he was one of the celebrity narrators for that thing I was talking about earlier. He was narrating the Christmas story, and he has done this for several years. He's not the one who canceled on us. He was starting the night of December 3rd. This was December 2nd. It was my birthday. So he was there the evening before. That gorgeous woman was his wife. And he also had his son with them. So it was his wife, John Stamos, the son, flanked by police officers on both sides. They were headed to watch the fireworks as well. So, yeah, John Stamos and I connected eyes. I'll never forget it. Thanks, Uncle Jesse. As soon as I said full house to Veda, she goes, oh my gosh, a couple more days at Disney and we came home. Really, the highlight of the whole trip was John Stamos. No other bad things happened, only good things. But really, John Stamos. If I had to summarize my vacation using 2 words, it would be John Stamos. Brad was I was busting him so bad. I just kept saying about how John Stamos and I had a moment. Okay, that's enough. All right. That's it. That's about my vacation. We had a great time. It was exactly what we needed. Just did our family. We were together 24 hours a day for 7 days. It was a lot. But honestly, it was good. And the kids only bickered a couple times. All right, guys, I'm gonna get to work. Thanks for sticking around. We'll see you soon.
I gotta make a vlog. You wanna help me make a vlog? Let's vlog. You see that?
3 times your age,
When you have 2 eyes like this or 1 eye winking?
One eye winking.
1 eye winking.
We're riding the Skyliner for the first time. So we like it. What's wrong, Mr. Incredible? Begonias.
For your safety, remain
Thank you.